What's up everyone? Today we're gonna dive into one of my all-time favorite exercise, which is analyzing a video game interface. So this is kind of a different video. As a designer, we face a ton of daily challenges around user experience, usability, visual design, but outside of work, we're still constantly surrounded by interface, applications, websites, platforms, and of course, video games. In this case, it's from one of my absolute favorite franchises, Civilization 7. I love doing this kind of, breakdown because it helps me practice, sharpen my eye, and let's be real, it just be a blast analyzing them. So if you're into design and you are a gamer at heart, stick around, you are gonna love this. Okay, welcome to Civilization 7. The solutions we will propose in this video are just one of many possible options that could be applied. So let's simply learn and have fun. With that out of the way, I'd like to start by discussing the interface at a high level. In this version of Civilization, the UI design leans toward elegance. The use of dark colors combined with gold gradients conveys a sense of seriousness and a premium feel, which aligns well with the game visual communication. The novel materials like marble and gold used to create powerful marketing imagery alongside the Civilization logo. On the other hand, the interface sometimes feel unfinished. Certain screens, appear to be in an early stage design phase or hastily resolved, lacking the polished visual layer present in other parts of the game. This has been a common point of discussion since Civ 7 was released. For those unfamiliar with this type of game, the UI of Civilization plays a critical role. Players must process a large amount of important information throughout the game. This is where I'd like to focus. Okay, so before we dive into the first example, let me show you how I set everything up. I create a series of components in Penpot, which you can see here, and as you can tell, I designed a set of buttons inspired by the game interface, some decorative borders and the icons. You can also see here the color palette based on dark tones and gold gradients, and also additionally I select the typography using the interface, and they are not exactly the same, but they'll do the job. So alright, now let's jump into the first example I want to analyze with you, the loading screen. So loading screen here play a bigger role, provides crucial information about the civilization and the leader you have chosen, allowing you, to read throughout it before continuing. So it essentially works as a reference page. This screen becomes even more relevant when selecting a random leader and civilization. So in that case, you don't know how you will play with until you reach this screen. So after clicking Create Game, you land here and discover your assigned leader and civilization. So even experienced players who might remember most abilities, by heart, still need to check this screen now and then. So what issues do I see with this design? First, I feel more like a PowerPoint slide than a game interface, as if it were a presentation rather than an interactive UI. This is especially noticeable when compared to other game UI's elements that are far more refined like this. The lack of visual consistency makes this screen stand out in a way that feels unpolished. And secondly, the information here is not easy to read. Text lines are too long, making them hard to follow. Line spacing is too tight, which makes the text feel, cramped. Titles blend, too much with the body text, reducing hierarchy and readability, and spacing between sections is minimal, making the content feel cluttered. How can we improve it? Now let me show you my proposed redesign in Penpot. As you can see, all elements are selectable and everything is built within Penpot. I've, reused many UI components from the game interface, tweaking them to create more, structure and readable layout. I tried to do first a layout adjustment, keeping the leader on the right and the content, on the left, but improving spacing. Also, I tried to make typography improvements, adjusting line spacing to 1.5 for better readability. And also I tried, to better sectioning in general, making titles stand out and ensuring the content blocks are clearly separated. So a small aesthetic touch, I insert a soft gradient between the background and the leader portrait. So if I hide it here, you'll see the difference. It helps separate the leader visually while still, showcasing the beautiful artwork. I noticed that it's some combinations of leader civilization and background, the visual get a bit lost. So these subtle effects improve contrast and enhance the atmosphere without overpowering the design. One last detail I decided to incorporate in Civilization 7 features 3 original ages: ancient, exploration and modern. I thought it would be cool to display this information on the loading screen. I couldn't find an official in-game icon for this, so I simply added a letter A for the antiquity age as a placeholder. This way, when players land on this screen, they immediately know they are starting in the Antiquity Age, they are playing as Himiko with the Mississippi civilization, and they have quick access to the civilization abilities and stats. Since the game allows players to start in different ages, this could be a useful reminder when loading a game after a long session. Let me know what you think, and let's move to the next example. This is the panel on the right, where we manage city production, constructing buildings, training units, and so on. It consists of a header displaying the city's name with arrows to switch between cities without exiting the menu, the production stats showing what the city generates, and also available items, which can either be produced or purchased. But what the issues with this interface? The main problem I see with this list is that, apart from feeling a bit cramped and lacks clear visual hierarchy, I think it has inconsistent typography and misaligning text, especially on the left side, make it visually confusing. Collapsible sections look exactly like selectable elements, making it harder to differentiate between categories and items, and the overall structure is dense and difficult to navigate. So looking for better references, such as the diplomacy and navigation window, while the headers in that section serve a different function, I find its layout much cleaner and more readable. Titles are more prominent and refined, spacing is better managed, making the interface, more readable at a glance, and span and collapse elements are more intuitive, using these buttons instead of rotating arrows, which are widely recognized UI elements. I believe adopting a more structured approach, similar to the diplomacy window, would greatly improve usability. So my proposed improvements is taking inspiration from these elements. Here's what I've changed. I preserved the header and improved the city name readability. The ability to navigate between cities is very useful. The city name was too small. While it may not be obvious here due to the zoom, in-game is often hard to read, so I increased the font size for better legibility. Well, in my opinion, the elements produced by the city need to better readability. I've added subtle dividers between them. Since these are not interactive elements, they shouldn't blend in with the buttons, like the scroll icon that opens the teleproduction information. This makes easier, to quickly scan what's available. Okay, full with navigation tabs, I redesigned, the tabs to expand the full width of the window. This way everything below the selected tab, whether production or purchases, clearly belongs to that category. And the view hidden button, which was awkwardly placed before, is now embedded into each section instead of being a global toggle. So more intuitive view hidden behavior. Previously, clicking view hidden would reveal hidden items across all categories, leading to unpredictable UI behavior. You have scrolling issues. Now each category has its own view hidden toggle, allowing better to control over what displayed. And instead of send the title, I place on the left matching other UI elements in the game, so collapsing and interaction buttons remain on the right, ensuring the clearly distinction between interactive and static elements. So this redesign aims to make navigation smoother and improve clarity while maintaining the overall aesthetics of the UI game. Throughout the Civilization 7 interface, there are many different types of tooltips displaying detailed information about various game elements. So these tooltips are crucial for decision making as they provide quick insights. However, the current design presents some usability issues. While the general concept of tooltips is solid, some are harder to read. So take a look at the tile tooltips. They separate information into clear sections, making it easy to scan. You can immediately tell what the title is, what it provides, who owns it, what the structure. In contrast, other tooltips like those for constructions and technologies are a bit cluttered. Text spacing is too tight, making it harder to read. Information is crammed together, making distinction unclear. Production costs and benefits are mixed, forcing users to slow down to process the details. So to improve this, I made a sidebot effective adjustment in Penpot. My proposed improvements are tooltips can get quite long, so allowing them more vertical space, improve readability, increase padding, between sections. Make it easier to distinguish cost from benefits, and added a separator between cost, benefits, and maintenance details, improving scannability. More structured layout, so cost and benefits and maintenance informations are now clearly divided. Consistent layout make it easier, to compare tooltips at a glance. Highlighting key information. This is important. The most important elements like, unlocked buildings and units are now bolded, and I use golden yellow highlighting for these elements, making them stand out immediately. The category label, for example, exploration, military building, is also emphasized as it helps, to contextualize the information. Okay, so it's done. With these refinements, information is much easier to scan and understand. Finally, to see how these tooltips look in context, I place them in the technology tree interface. When hovering a technology like ceiling, the new tooltip appears with proper spacing, hierarchy, and a subtle shadow. Okay, so finally, I'd like to make a small adjustment to the header. Currently, resources are displayed like this. You can see them fairly clearly. Keep in mind that this covers, the entire screen, and the resource indicators are away in the top left corner. Because of this, these values feel a bit visually disorganized. For example, spacing between icons and the text is inconsistent. In some cases, the gap is much wider, while in others is much narrower. Happiness appears closer to the city icon than its own icon, making it harder to read at a glance, so yeah. In previous Civilization games, there was an option to group resources visually by using color coding. You can see an example here. Gold is yellow, science is blue, culture is purple, and I've applied the same logic here using a color palette that already exists in the game. Civilization 7 already used color code visuals in its legacy management window. When transitioning between eras, you can see this screen. So you can see how science is consistently represented in shadows of blue, culture in purple, economy in yellow. All I did was apply this same system to the resources bar. In Civilization 6, they had a similar approach, and I think this update keeps things elegant and functional. Additionally, I adjust the spacing so that all elements are evenly distributed. I switch the font to the sans serif typeface, which remains more readable at smaller sizes compared to the serif font. So overall, I think this small adjustment improves clarity. I didn't make any changes to the right side UI elements, but I would likely do something similar, there as well. Maybe for another video. Okay, so that's a wrap up on this breakdown, guys. It's been super interesting to see how this game tackles its interface challenges, where there's still room for improvement. If you enjoyed this, drop a comment below and let me know if you like this kind of videos. And if you are all about design and gaming, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a thing. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.